Alright, this is for our hologram project. Right now we're going to be looking at tracking the motion because we want our screen for our hologram to move along with some sort of object that's projecting that hologram. So let's get started. Let's grab our import our, if you still need to, import your background file, which is going to be a video file. And we're going to drag it down here into the timeline, and we'll right click up here, check our composition settings just to make sure. Okay, we got, so that's our timeline. Sizes look okay. That should be the same size as our video. Then hit OK. And see, so our video is 1440 by 1080 and our hologram is 1440 by 1080, so we're good. And you can scroll through and see the video. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new. So we're down here in an open area, right click, new, solid, and it can be any color you want. You might want to kind of think of what color you want your holograms to be. So it's going to be our hologram screen, let's call it that. And so let's see, let's make it just a real light blue. Make it kind of bright looking. Okay. And then I'm gonna scale this to the size I want. Or maybe about there looks good. Okay, now, and that's going to be our hologram screen. So the next thing we want is we're going to do right click down here in this open area, again in our timeline viewer. We're going to go new, and this time we want null object. And so this is a square. It's basically an invisible layer that we're not going to see. And this handle right here, this little round circle, is the one that you can drag it, and we want that to be kind of in the center. So once again, this is an invisible layer where you won't see it once it gets rendered. But this is what we're going to have things that will connect to this. So we're going to use this to help track our motion. So we're going to track the motion with the null, and then we can parent other objects to this null object, and then they will all be in concordance with this null object. Okay, so we have our null, and we're going to select off of that, and now we're going to select our background layer again, the hologram screen. I'm sorry, the hologram video at the bottom, because that's where we want to track our motion. We want to track our motion of that camera, or the phone that she's holding. That's going to be the sort of like where the hologram is coming up from. It's projecting out of that. So let's hit, oh, I'm sorry, and we want to, you could go under Window and Tracker, but sometimes it doesn't give you all the tools that you need when you go there. So I would go under our work area, and if you're in an animation or something else, go into motion tracking, because that should give you all of the things we need. Because sometimes it might not give you this analyze button down here. So make sure you're in the motion tracking work area. Okay, so our motion source, when you select the Jocelyn Kirk hologram layer .mp4, that is going to be our motion source. So under motion source up here, we want that to be that same file. So select that, make sure that is what is in here. In the current track, we don't have any yet. And I'm making sure that is selected down here, that video layer. And oops. And we want to track the motion. So once you hit that track motion button here on the bottom left, excuse me, it's going to give us a little tracking point. So we want to open that up. And that second one, the second one is the important one. That's going to give us this window. And what we want to do is select in between that square and that plus sign right in there. You'll see that it gives us a little four-cornered motion that you see goes on the cursor, which means you're in the right spot. So once you select that, then it gives you this big window, and you have to find the area you want to track, which is that camera right there. So that moved our points. So now we can adjust it to however we want. It looks pretty close. Usually you want to pick up an area that has a lot of contrast, so a lot of high whites and darks. And that looks pretty good right there. I got the camera selected. That looks pretty good. And we're going to hit our play button to do under the analyze. So we're going to analyze that motion. Excuse me. And this takes a little bit of time. So once that gets done analyzing, it's going to give us a bunch of points for each frame. So each frame is going to have its own point for the tracking. And then we're going to have those points. We're going to transfer those points. We're also going to have those points on the null object. So the null object will also have those same motion tracking points. And then we're going to parent the hologram screen to the null object. And then that you'll be able to see that how it all tracks, and it will all move and follow that camera. And hopefully it should be just a minute here. Almost finished. Excuse me. Okay, now we should see all our points. And our points are the same color as what we have down here. So if you want to change the color of your points, if you can't see them for whatever reason, you can change the color down here. Say we want our null object to be something different than green. I guess red's okay. We'll leave it red. So now what we want to do is, let's go back to our first frame. Now we want to edit our target, because now we want to apply the motion to the null object, which is the null object that we created down here. So it's called null1. So apply motion to null1, which is right here. Hit OK. And then if everything looks good, we'll hit apply. And yes, we want apply dimensions. We want X and Y. So everything. Hit OK. And there you see it gave us our points. Now those red points now are the null object. So if you hit the eyeball, you can see that those are connected to the null. Okay? Alright, so now we want our screen, our hologram screen, to connect to that null to have those points. So we're going to, under parent and link, if you need to, you might have to hit some of these buttons down here in order to get the parent and link to show up. And so under our hologram screen, under parent and link, we're going to change that to null1. And that should give us the motion should be following that camera. And it looks like it does it very well. So that worked. Now the only thing I want to do now is I want to get that screen to kind of be in the same direction as the camera. So I'm going to kind of go to the middle. I'm going to give it a 3D. So I might have to hit my buttons over here, this expand and collapse the layer switches pane down here. So I hit that far left small button there, and that will give me my 3D over here. And then I just click that. Under the hologram screen, I want that 3D button to be checked. So right there. So now I can see my 3D is working on the hologram screen. Okay, so let's twirl down on the hologram screen, go to our transform, and I want the Y. So I'm going to select this right in here under the Y, and I'm going to move it. I'm going to click on that number, that second number, and drag it a little bit. And I want it to turn. So I'm clicking and dragging. I'm lift clicking and dragging to the right. So now it's turning a little bit more towards her and kind of facing how the camera is also, or the phone is facing that she's holding. And I'm going to give that a keyframe. See how that looks? Yeah. Okay. So the camera that we're shooting her with, you can see that phone that she's holding is also changing direction. So I'm going to change this screen direction to match a little bit. So a little bit more like right there. Yeah. And we'll go back to the beginning. You can see it's facing more towards us, so I'm going to change that again. So I'm going to give that another frame, keyframe. Yeah, okay. And that looks pretty good. Maybe I'll make the screen a little bit transparent for now so we can kind of see it. So under the opacity, we don't need to keyframe it because it's not going to change at this point. We might have to go back and change that later, just kind of seeing how it looks for now. Okay. And if you want, you might want to change the scale if you need to at this point. Say if we want it a little bit smaller or a little bit bigger. But I kind of like the size how it was, so I'm going to keep it there. And that's it for now.